welcome everyone. It's my pleasure today to introduce to you two of our partners companies called both SFC and Powerbox, who are with me in this webinar. So let me start by introducing Felix, who will follow my presentation. So Felix Brecht is German, Felix, I guess, living in Spain. He's a business development manager in the Asia Pacific region for SFC. And as most of you know, we have a very good relationship with SFC. It's a leading provider of methanol fuel cells and power solutions. So here in Europe, I would imagine about probably 40% of the tower solutions we will speak about later is equipped with EFOY when used off-grid. So later today, Felix will provide you with more details on all of the benefits using EFOY fuel cells as a power supply for your CCTV system. After Felix, I'm also happy to have here in the call James Rutty, who is a director of Powerbox. It's a local Australian and New Zealand partner of TelescopicMast and SFC Energy. And Powerbox is specialized in all design, the manufacturing and integration of power conversion, energy storage products and solutions. And he will provide more details how Powerbox is providing key integration pieces of a total solution to TelescopicMast, incorporating both solar and EFOY fuel cells. So optimized also, of course, for Australian conditions, as this will be more or less the topic of today. So welcome again, James. And so let's give a bit of an overview on the agenda here. So after a bit of an introduction, which we have done, welcome, I will start later on a bit explaining about TelescopicMast and the market we're in, especially the market conditions for mobile security solution. And then I will explain a bit about what TelescopicMast is all about, the key drivers, the key benefits, and hand over to Felix. So for today's webinar, what furthermore is good to know is we will record the whole session and send you also a link afterwards, just so you know, so you get the slides and anything else that obviously is a part of the webinar. And maybe another, I would say, rule or request is to save your questions until the end, because as you see, we will have a Q&A after the presentation of Powerbox. And then basically, I would then invite all of you for any of your questions to raise them through the chat functionality. And we will gather questions and then answer them as a team or per company, depends a bit on the question. But try to save that till the end, because it makes it'll go a bit smoother to go through the presentations. So get me started. Just one slide on TelescopicMast for those who don't know TelescopicMast not yet. I try to keep it real simple. It's a Dutch company. We are about 25 years really focused on steel products, different sort and shapes, but let's say the last 10 years, very focused on what we call security towers. So that's really our focus area, and that's all we do. So it's I'll get to that later on. And we do expand really globally. So also in the US, in Europe, Northern Europe, South Europe, this concept of security and surveillance is really picking up. And we're happy to work also with partners like SFC and Powerbox to also create sort of awareness in the multiple regions. And next to that, maybe a bit of a flavor as to who we are. And you see on the left corner, you see the crowd, I would say crowd control, but it's a bit of a crazy orange vibe here going on with the European Championship, but equally so maybe with Formula One. So we're very orange, as you can see. On the top, you see also our sales team, international sales team, all gathered, where we will wear our daily orange polos. Not really true, but that is also, you see this on the Five Guys here below, where we had a very successful trade show at the ISC West last April, also together with our partner SFC. So we really are very complementary. So we're demonstrating our tower, they demonstrate their solution, and that's also where we came in all orange. And then last but not least, on the right side, you have Douglas Miller, who is a true Aussie, the only one in our company, and been very active and supporting over the last 6-7 months to really start making an entry in the Australian market. So for those who have not yet spoken to Douglas, probably will happen soon. So maybe to start, because I mentioned tower and these type of things a few times, for those who are maybe a bit new to the market and things, I like to show you a very short animation video. It's about 1 minute, but it does quite well explain what it is, what we do. So bear with me, and I will show you the animation right now. So yes, I think real short, but quite well explaining about the concept and what it is. I will speak about it in a bit more detail. Before I do, I just want to take a bit of a step back, have a look at the market here, and maybe explain a bit more about mobile security. So you speak about mobile security, you also talk about mobile CCTV surveillance. I recently also hear the term visual intelligence, right? So this market is a sort of a crossover of multiple technologies, where basically all we do is providing the steel platform. Comes down is, in the end, there is a need to protect either people, sites, or assets. The mobile relates also to something that is typically temporary from an installation perspective, so it's not like a fixed camera position. The ability to detect perimeter intrusion at night, so that's also where you create that opportunity. It's fast to deploy, right? So it could be something in and around events or public safety, or something about, I don't know, copper theft at a railway, something that needs to be protected at a certain moment, something you put in real quick. You also provide a really highly visible deterrent, right, with this solution. It also provides off-grid power options. So if you are maybe at a mining situation, or a solar farm, windmills, that's also where there is no mains power. So you will need some sort of a solution. And obviously SFC Powerbox will speak about that in more detail, but this also provides this off-grid power option solution, and is very cost effective. And I'll also speak about that more in a minute. So again, we're taking a bit of a step back, because one of the things that is helping also to grow in this space is the fact that, you know, the overall crime rates increase. That combines with a lot of construction or infrastructural work basically creates this whole market. Yeah, we're in together. And so we have also done a study. So when you define sort of what is the most attractive market and what is the total addressable market, you can look at, for example, what is the crime rate in a certain country, what is the size or the growth of the construction market, helping to define obviously the opportunity that you have. So that's obviously what we also done for Australia and other regions, and this then come out as a really attractive market to be in, especially also because of something that's related to this is the fact that it sometimes, as an alternative to man guards, can become like a more hybrid solution. So when we're looking at markets where the average man guard wage is really low, you could, argue whether you would like to have a more advanced solution like this, or maybe have 2 man guards on site helping you to protect. And obviously, there's a lot of other reasons why camera surveillance works better, but we do see it often comes in a sort of hybrid situation. But especially if the wages are high, this is a key role. Or secondly, if the availability of man guards becomes an issue, and that's also what we see in Australia, other countries, is that it is not only costly, it's really difficult to find people that gonna help you to protect the sites and assets, etc. So this all, let's say, would play into the fact that if you're looking at the overall CCTV market CAGR, it maybe be in and around 5.7% as we got these numbers. But if you look at the mobile market solutions, and again, this is both, as you see in the top, defined for the CCTV towers and CCTV trailers, then that sort of niche is much bigger, right? So this is really a niche solution that is growing fast. And this is sort of like numbers we see everywhere here, also in Northern Europe. 20-25% or more is quite a common CAGR. And that's basically saying this is a great market to be in or invest in. According our research, there should be in and about close to 8,000 sort of units, trailers in and around Australia region, where they predict there is another sort of opportunity, total addressable market for 46,000. So again, we think it's a great place to be. But also looking maybe at some other drivers that we see in the other markets. So why are our other companies sort of jumping on this bandwagon is the fact that for many of them, the whole rental and recurring business model is very attractive. So if you're looking at rental, basically rental business where you can charge between maybe 1,000 to 2,000 a month, obviously depending very much the country and your setup. But if you have and again, like SFC is also doing this with multiple type of companies throughout Europe, some that may have 500 towers, right, in their state, or maybe up to 10,000. So you can imagine if you have this like on a weekly basis coming in, it's a very profitable model. So that's one side of it. You also see there is an absolute need to minimize the damage and the loss of delay. So I'm saying that no one is really happy if something is, let's say, the theft, let's say, on the construction side, but sometimes it's worse to have a delay, right? So you can steal something as a key component maybe of the construction. So that's a loss, but sometimes there is even bigger loss because the time these days it takes maybe to replace certain materials can be up to months, right? So the cost with the delay is way bigger than the loss itself. Other things that can become in play is health and safety rules. So we also see cameras on construction site, maybe not only for the above reason, the loss and delay, but also for public safety. So it can be the cameras monitoring the yellow jackets safety rules, or wearing helmets and alarms kick in if that's not the case. So that's also where you use this technology. The other thing mentioned, obviously the cost savings, and the increased AI and basically abilities that cameras provide. When we then make a small turn into the solution we provide itself, and looking at what is really the benefit and why is TelescopicMast in this call, is basically a few things. So we only are providing the steel platform, basically for everyone else to build their own solution. So we are not competing with any integrator, installer whatsoever. We would say basically it's like a Christmas tree, and in the end you define your own cameras, the things that you like to have in there, fit for purpose for your market. So that's just one thing to know. We go for high quality, as in the Europe. TUV is a important certification like CE, and that's where we manufacture again. So that's really important for us, and also for our customers. When you are in bids and tenders, this is often a requirement by any governmental project. So that's definitely on our radar. As we mentioned, we are really focused for a long time on towers only. We really try to design everything in the mind of an installer or some to operate. That means that we think about, okay, should we change a mast stop? Do you like certain kind of cable chains? If we design a certain room in the box, is that enough place for a patch box? Is that enough for your operator to help and support on the materials? Also SFC in this case, can we put in the cartridges? If that doesn't fit, it's not going to work for a large amount of the customer base. So that's how we design. Deploy things single person is really important. So our mast can be done real simple. One person can lift the mast, etc. Sometimes I see bigger trailers and you need 2 people to bring the mast up or down, or solar panels and mount it. If you really run a business like I described, then operational cost is becoming a really important element here. So reducing operational cost is going to be key. So we keep that really in mind. Stability is another important topic that people bring to us. So the stability of your mast, especially when working with also radar and advanced cameras, where you don't want to have false alarms in your alarm monitoring center. So the mast should be really stable. The other thing is they're vandal resistant. So these can be either completely off grid, where you don't want to have anyone climbing or destroying your mobile solution, or it could be in public space where people maybe want to push it around, whatever. So it's really a very bulky, strong tower. I'll show you later on, but we really keep that in mind. And the other thing that is I think also a big benefit is really a visible mast. If you compare especially also to a trailer model, it's 2 meter high or more, 4 large panels, and that's where you can brand your solution. So whatever brand you have, you can put it on the side, so it should be really something really visible in the space you're working in. So I'm not going in depth on the products and its features, but basically you see on the left side quite a compact model, which we introduced last year. You see on the complete right side a compact model, but then on a small trailer, and they sort of fit together. So that's the compact. It's the road box on the right side, and then basically you see a series of towers, and that's basically our I would say our signature design. And you see towers that come from more basic model with some additional features like top covers and etc. Then we have the premium, the product where it all started with. It's our strongest and best designed product, I would say. And then there is a new one called the Premium XL, which is more or less similar, but then even bigger. So You talk about 2.5 meters high. The mast can go up till 9 meters. And this basically is all, the whole concept, right? So you see big doors where you can brand it and store all your equipment. And I think that's all for now from a sort of, I would say, detailed perspective. And obviously we can share with you very easily any brochure and measures, etc. But maybe to add to the tower itself, so where we think we are going through a major paradigm is where we see this tower, and especially if you're from Australia, obviously, and or maybe the US, other countries where you see more trailer design models, is that we sort of decoupled the tower from the wheels. So I'll show you the next slide that helps you explain. So here you see a trailer, a hydraulic trailer, which we call like a drop-off, drop-on trailer. That can help you to move and transport this to site, construction site, infrastructure site, etc. You drop it and then you go back, you pick another one and you drop it again. You can do one tower on a trailer or two towers on a trailer. And why is this interesting is that when we also were a few times, obviously in the US, you ask people, how long does a tower or a trailer, in this case then, trailers on your construction site or on your solar farm, is it 6 or 9 months or is it 12 or maybe more? And basically the answer is most of the times it's 12 months or more, which then raises the question, why would you then spend something so expensive, right? Why do you need to have all the wheels? Why do you need to have this sort of bigger design trailer, which in the US can be up to whatever, starting 30, 40,000 US dollars up to 100,000 US dollars. Why would you sort of spend that money or pay your rent against that amount if you can just drop it and then pick it up maybe 12 or 15 months later? You don't really need this sort of bulky thing as a trailer. So this is the difference in concept, I would say. So a lot of the customers we have, they may have 15 towers and then against maybe one trailer. So that's an option. So here you see an example, right, of a car. There's a trailer with it. It goes to the site, drops the tower, then brings up the mast, and then goes back again. That's the concept that we share. And then it becomes interesting if you're thinking about having a large fleet of towers, where you would say, well, driving this to site and back is also maybe time consuming. Why don't I do it in a bigger way, right? So why don't I move 24 towers on a truck? I plan a certain type of route through the region. I'm going to pick up a few towers from this construction site. I'm going to drop a few on a new solar farm project, etc. And then you use a lorry or a flatbed, I think better said, but as a way to move your towers throughout your region. So that is the option. The other thing, I find it quite a funny picture. People say, hey, how is this possible? But somewhere in the middle here, if you can see it well, you see a tower moved also easily around a construction site. So there is lifting ice as well and forklift slots as well, but you can also easily pick it up and then transport it once it's on site. So this is, I think, for now, enough about the product itself, right? I think everyone now understands the concept of the tower. And now I would like to explain a bit more where we see such projects, right? So one of the things just to share is public safety, right, as a vertical. So I'll go in a bit more into the verticals. But you see here a few examples where these masts were seen, so to say. So the coronation on this sort of a massive road to protect. Equally so on the Commonwealth Games, a very, I think I'd say Wilson James in this case. Don't think it's a secret, won a big bid tender to protect, and they got a lot of our towers spread in and across Birmingham. And again, European football, you see on squares, on roads. where you have obviously very friendly supporters, sometimes maybe not, and when things get a bit out of hand, people want to monitor, see what's happening. You see it at music festivals, etc. Right? So here we basically made a render. As you see, this is not really yet in the harbor bridge, but it could be, right? So it's just a nice example. Equally so, something completely different is, and what we hear and see a lot is in and around mining areas, where you need surveillance, things like parking. And this is also when we were in Vegas. It's you're looking at the real big trailers. They're at least 3 times the size of this tower, right? The tower is 1 by 1 meter, and is nicely branded. Let's say on a Walmart parking lot. Yeah, I would say a lot more efficient than the bulky trailer in this case. Construction is probably our dominant vertical. If you add it all up, then this is clearly where we do most of our business. Another fast-growing one is solar parks, solar farms, especially when they build it, obviously, but sometimes also when the build is done. Infrastructural projects also are very big. So in short, you see them here. It could be really multiple things. Data centers, I also see here railways, big projects in the UK. So it can really differ per region, of course, and yeah, that makes every country or region unique in the way they apply the tower. So when it comes to the tower itself, then I'll go now back a bit to the, I would say the setup of our company again, where we say it's yours to sort of create, right? So we would say if you have a need for these type of solutions, select your type of mast, whether you like a compact or a premium or a basic, and then you should start thinking about how you would like to design it, right? So is it like PTZ combined with thermal, radar, etc. So that's all your decisions to make, or where you work maybe with your integrator or installer, etc. But this is yours to decide. Basically, we're not involved anywhere in this, but this is like a setup where you can have a look at. Again, equipment. You would think of speakers, lighting, obviously power. That will be our next topic, but that's really a key, right? The tower, and then where you're going to apply it really defines your whole battery and fuel cells, solar, etc. Way to power up your solution. And the last thing is branding, right? So you can sticker it and then apply your logos and design on it, and then you're good to go. Just to sort of give a smooth sort of handover also to the next, I'm going to show you how it could look like. So here you see a tower with solar panels on the side. And as you can see, it's like sort of 1, 2, 3 step, and then you have quite a big solar frame that you can use. And again, as we are working a lot with EFOY on this, you also see here a patch box or enclosure, I think is also a common word for this. But this is where you have your EFOY inside, combined with the cartridge, etc., all nicely and waterproof in your tower. And equally so, there is a set where you have your products in here. Here, I think you have access camera and some lighting things. They all come down into the box. The top cover is closed, and then everything can be transported safely again. So this is just a few examples where we took some pictures, so you get a bit of an understanding how this can look like. And in my opinion, it's really easy to operate. If you're the technical person, you're standing in front of this tower, you know, everything is really close at hand. And last but not least, it's the branding itself. So we really think that we do a really great job in having such a huge tower out there in the field, where you have your logo and your design and your phone number when you want people to reach out to you. So I think it really becomes powerful marketing tower, I would almost say. So with that said, and then we have some great testimonials, of course, as you would expect. I'll skip these. So before I hand over, maybe just a last summary of what I just said. So build your own is our philosophy here. And it's a versatile, adaptable security tower for you to sort of further design. Compared to trailers, especially, it's a real small footprint and really easy deployment. Everything is really heavy duty, galvanized, and vandal resistant. The use of one person, I think, is a key differentiator often. The transportation options that we provide are quite different. And I think it's really cost effective. So not sharing all the prices here, but trust me, it's much more affordable than the larger trailers. And another thing is we do not compete. So you would not see TelescopicMast coming out with our own solutions anywhere or cameras, etc. We stick to what we are doing really well, and that is the steel platform. And so with that said, I'm getting back now to the agenda where I'm going to make sort of next transition to where, as I mentioned, you have a tower, but what's going to happen then next. And happy to introduce to you Felix again. So as I mentioned, he's the business development manager for the Asia Pacific region, and he will share with you more about the solution, the powering, and I'd like to hand over to Felix.
Yeah, thank you, Hank, for the introduction, and thanks for your very informative presentation.
Yeah.
In the next 15 to 20 minutes, I would like to introduce our company, SFC Energy, and explain why our EFOY, our fuel cell, is the perfect fit for the telescopic mast and also for other, let's say, CCTV solutions. Let me share my screen quickly. Okay, here we go. So I'm starting off with some basic information about SFC Energy, our company. We are a worldwide leading provider of hydrogen and direct methanol fuel cells for mobile and stationary power solutions. We are in the market for more than 20 years already, and until now we have sold more than 70,000 fuel cells worldwide, which makes us the absolute market leader, especially in the direct methanol fuel cell world. We have a market share here of around 90-95%. We see at the moment a huge demand for our fuel cell as an energy solution, especially from CCTV customers. This is also the main reason why our company is growing very fast. Last year, we achieved a revenue of around 118 million euro. Our company is getting bigger and bigger. We have more than 400 employees. We are headquartered in Munich, in the south of Germany. This is also where most of our products are being produced. So it's made in Germany, German engineering. And as you can see on the small world map down here, we work with global distribution partners. And in Australia and New Zealand, we are working together with our long-standing partner, Powerbox Australia and Powerbox New Zealand. And also in Europe, we have a very strong partnership with TelescopicMast because both our products fit perfectly together. Some of you might be familiar with direct methanol fuel cell. For the ones who are not familiar, I will quickly explain the working principle. So we need oxygen, which is inside the air, and we need liquid methanol, which is provided by SFC Energy. Inside the fuel cell, there is something called the stack, which is the heart and soul of the fuel cell, and this is also where the electrochemical process is happening. So there is no moving parts, no burning. It's an extremely quiet process. You almost cannot hear it. And what we get out is, of course, electricity power and a bit of waste heat, water vapor, and a very small amount of CO2, which can be compared with what a human being is breathing out. Yeah, so compared to diesel genset, for example, we can save up to 90% of CO2 emissions. It's important to mention that a fuel cell is always connected to a battery. You can therefore also consider this as a smart battery charger. Whenever the voltage in the battery drops down, the fuel cell will start itself automatically, starts charging the battery, and once the battery is fully charged, the fuel cell will turn itself off. So at the end of the day, it's only a smart battery charger, and it's not rocket science. In terms of dimensions, it's extremely small and compact. You can compare it with a carry-on luggage for an airplane. Has a weight of around 7 kilograms, and the length is around 50 centimeters and height 30 centimeters. So very easy to carry around, but also very easy to install in your existing CCTV system or in your telescopic mast, for example. Depending on your power demand, and this is usually the first question we ask our customer, what is your power demand? We would then allocate the respective fuel cell. On the right-hand side is our, let's say, strongest direct methanol fuel cell with a power output of 500 watt. However, when we look at the CCTV segment, we are mainly looking at the ones here in the middle in dark gray, our E4 Pro lineup, which is designed for continuous operation. And looking at the CCTV customers in Germany, Europe, but in the US, most of them are using our E4 Pro 2800 with a power output of 125 watts. Also important to mention here, maybe the fuel cell can be clustered. You can connect up to 4 fuel cells together, which would then give you a power output of up to 500 watt. But again, when we look at CCTV applications, the average load here is, let's say, 80 watts up to 120 watts. And usually most customers only use one E4 fuel cells for their application. What are the basic requirements from our customers, and what can we provide with the fuel cell? I already mentioned that this is an environmentally friendly energy solution, which is very important nowadays because we see nowadays bans of diesel generators in some city centers. So here the fuel cell is then the ideal solution for the customer. But probably most important is that with the fuel cell we can provide 100% reliable energy, 365 days a year, 24/7, and this is, as you probably all from the CCTV segment, most important because having a system out there which is not working, which is not having electricity is the worst case. So with the fuel cell, you make sure that the system is running. You don't have the problem of having no electricity, of having downtime. The fuel cell makes sure that the system is running constantly. Another point is that depending on how much methanol you connect to the fuel cell, you can achieve an extremely long autonomy time. I have customers who only exchange the fuel cartridges once a year. Of course, this then also reflects into, let's say, savings in logistic costs, because you don't have to go to the site every few weeks to replace the diesel or to replace the batteries. With the fuel cell, you only have to go there, let's say, twice a year or once a year to replace the methanol. And the last point here is we have a remote monitoring system. You can connect the fuel cell to a modem, to a router, and then the fuel cell becomes online, and you can see all the details of the fuel cell in our remote monitoring system, which I will explain later. Most of our fuel cells are being used in a hybrid setup, meaning most of our customers have also installed a solar panel, and this of course makes also most sense in Australia since you have a lot of sun, and by having a solar panel installed, the fuel cell would then only work as a backup, and by doing so you can let's say reduce the methanol fuel consumption, and you can also reduce your solar footprint on the other side. For example, I have a customer in Perth, Western Australia, one of the most sunniest region in the world. They produce also trailers, CCTV trailers, but in each of their trailers they have a fuel cell installed. The reason is, of course, they're using a solar panel, but you cannot just install unlimited solar panels on your trailer because of certain restrictions. So this shows that even in Australia, even in very sunny parts of the world, the fuel cell is also very beneficial, extremely beneficial for your application. On this slide, you can see a couple of connecting components. So in the middle, this is the fuel cell. And I already mentioned that the fuel cell is always connected to a battery. We as SFC, we also sell our own battery, but the customer is also open to use their own existing 12 or 24 volt battery. And in Asia, to be very open here, most of our customers use their local battery. Same in Australia, I believe. Then on the upper left-hand side, you have our fuel manager. You can connect up to 8 fuel cartridges to one fuel cell. In order to do so, you would need a fuel manager, which is also provided by SFC, of course. And there are certain ways and certain means of how to control the fuel cell. You have the control panel, which you can connect to the fuel cell. Of course, you have to be at the site. You have to be next to the fuel cell to control the fuel cell with the control panel. You can also use your mobile phone. And as mentioned, and this is very convenient actually, with the E4 Cloud, our remote monitoring system, you can control the fuel cell from basically everywhere in the world, from your office or from your vacation house. It's an extremely convenient tool, which is also used by most of our customers. Just to give you some quick details about our remote monitoring system, our E4 Cloud. So it gives you all the information you need about the fuel cell. What is the current operating mode of the fuel cell? What is the current power output? What is the charging voltage? And probably most important, it gives you information about the methanol, how much methanol is left in my fuel cartridge. And based on this information, you can then schedule your next visit to the site. Coming now to the fuel cartridges, we have different sizes of methanol cartridges. Most CCTV customers are either using the 10-liter version or the 28-liter version, and most customers have connect usually up to, let's say, 2 or 4 fuel cartridges. The big advantage for methanol is that it has an extremely high energy density. In order to produce 1 kilowatt hour of electricity, you only need 0.9 liter of methanol. It's certified for all means of transportation. Usually Powerbox is placing an order once or twice a year, and then we send over the methanol to Australia. Then Powerbox is distributing this to the end customer. So the entire distribution chain is here already set up, and we make sure that the customer receives the methanol whenever it's needed. And maybe also important to mention here, you will never get in contact with the methanol. So even though you change the fuel cartridge, you replace the fuel cartridge, you will not get in touch with the methanol, because we have here a very special safety valve, which makes sure that you don't get in contact with the methanol. In the following slides, I will explain a couple of reference cases, starting off with some customers in Australia. We have already a lot of customers in Western Australia, but also in the East Coast. Most of them use the E4 in their CCTV trailer. Power demand is here usually 50 to 100 watt. And as already explained, most of the customers use a solar panel, of course, in Australia, as it makes most sense. And the fuel cell here is used as the backup power supply. And with this, we make sure that there are no downtimes, and the autonomy time is usually 1 year, meaning every 12 months only you have to replace the methanol, which is very convenient when you compare this to your existing solutions. Another reference case from Europe, Germany. We work together here with a company called Bauwatch. If you are in Germany, you will probably see this TelescopicMast by Bauwatch. It's installed on construction sites, on highways. And the setup here is very similar. You have power demand of 60 watts. They use a solar panel with an output of 250 watts. And autonomy time in this case is around 2 weeks, which is for this customer enough, because the solution is not too remote. So it's usually very easy to replace the fuel cartridges. Another reference case from the UK, our long-standing customer Sunstone Systems has a very interesting CCTV tower here with extremely big solar panels with a power output of 800 watts. Power demand of their cameras are around 50 to 100 watts again. So this is always very similar in the CCTV segment. And also here the autonomy time is around 12 months. This is a reference case from our biggest customer in the US, from LiveView Technologies. They are specialized in building CCTV trailer. They build around 100 trailer per month, and each of their trailer has an EFOI installed. And also here, power demand is around 70 watts. They have used the EFOI in combination with the solar panel, and autonomy time in this case is around 10 weeks. We have a lot of more reference cases on our website, so feel free to check it out. And the last slide from my side is about our EFOI energy calculator, which is a very convenient tool, which you can find on our website. And with this tool, you can basically calculate your energy demand, and you can ask the system, or the system will, let's say, recommend or suggest the respective fuel cell for your use case. And the only thing you need to do is you give the system all your data. What is the load of your application? How long is the load running? Do I have a solar panel installed? What is the output of the solar panel? Where's the location of my application? And then you get this beautiful illustration here showing you how much methanol is being used per month, when is the fuel cell actually running. So I guess for the southern hemisphere, this picture would look the other way around, meaning in Australia the fuel cell would mainly run in the months from April to September. But I encourage you to check out this tool online and type in your data, and then you will also understand that the fuel cell is actually quite helpful for your TV solution. Excuse me. The last slide for today shows you a couple of press releases from, let's say, the last few months. This basically shows you that our product, our EFOI, is used by all major CCTV companies worldwide. For example, looking at the upper left, this is Oneberry Technologies, located in Singapore. They are also a long-standing customer of us. They just placed another huge order. Then I've talked about LiveView Technologies from the US. They constantly place huge orders because they have also understood that the fuel cell is the perfect solution, and it solves all their pain points. And the last point here on the lower right-hand side is a CCTV customer in the Netherlands, who also just placed a 2.5 million follow-up order to equip the towers, the telescopic mast towers, actually with the fuel cells. I'm looking forward to your questions after James' presentation, and I apologize for my voice. I just caught COVID yesterday. That's why my voice is about to die. Nevertheless, thanks for your attention. With this, I hand over to James, and yeah, looking forward to your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Felix. Okay, so thanks everyone for joining today. My name is James. I'm director here at Powerbox Australia. The purpose of why we're here today in this webinar is effectively presenting what Powerbox will be offering to the local Australia and New Zealand market. As Felix has mentioned, we've been long-term partners with SFC Energy, now totaling for more than 10 years. And recently, with some focus on supplying off-grid power into the CCTV market, we've partnered with TelescopicMast to give us a standardized envelope to build a safe, simple, reliable power platform to support CCTV rollout in Australia. So today I'm just going to go over a few slides. I will try to not death by PowerPoint, everyone. I appreciate it's getting late in the day. So I'm going to introduce Powerbox Australia. Many of you on the call here will know us, but might know us only from one area of our business. So I will give a bit of a background as to why we're talking about off-grid power today. We're going to talk about the design philosophy that we've come together for our off-grid CCTV powered solutions. We're going to talk about some of the standard power solutions that we're putting together based on load profiles of 80 and 120 watts. We believe that this is going to be the majority of the market. However, there are still obviously options to do customized equipment cabinets based on other power budgets. I'm just going to run through also, I think it's important to go through a few Australian-based EFOY customers. So Felix has highlighted some of the CCTV customers that we've got, particularly in the Perth region. However, I'll go through some other reference customers. So to date, we've got over 200 fuel cells installed in Australia. So, and the numbers are growing year on year quite substantially. Also going to touch on the Australian methanol supply chain. That is a question that we get asked about almost every time that we talk about a fuel cell. So I'll spend a couple of minutes talking about how we stock methanol here in our premises in Sydney, how we dispatch, how we order them from 2 methanol sources globally. I'll also mention why we have to do this. It's to do with the purity of the methanol. And then finally, we'll just talk about the upcoming security exhibition and conference in Sydney, where we'll have a stand. We will be joined by both Felix and Henk and his team, and we really look forward to introducing the total telescopic mast EFOY and Powerbox solution in person. So who's Powerbox? So Powerbox, this year we're actually celebrating 40 years in business. We specialize in the design, manufacturing and integration of power conversion and energy storage equipment. So over this time, you appreciate we've got a very deep understanding of energy storage and power conversion technologies. So over 40 years, we've seen a lot of technology change, particularly in renewable energy, battery technology, and also the emerging of fuel cells into the mainstream. We also have a sister company here called Solar Energy Australia, and that's been going since 1996, and they've been providing off-grid power since the mid-1990s. So we're also one of the oldest solar companies in Australia. So that goes to our pedigree of the ability to design solar systems. So what do we do? Our range of products and solutions include battery chargers and UPS systems, hybrid and standalone power systems, power supplies, smart lithium batteries, inverters, DC-to-DC converters, basically anything that you need to convert a voltage source one way or the other will have a product or solution that's suitable. So our key markets. Now, most people in the security market will know us from our range of DC UPS products, which are used extensively in the access control and electronic locking systems. To date, we've probably sold over 350,000 DC UPSs into this market. So chances are, if you're in a commercial building somewhere and you've swiped your card to go into a door, there'll be one of our power supplies in there. I know, very thankful to some of the people on the call here that make that possible. What you might know is our expertise far extends beyond the security market. So security market probably equates to about 35% of our revenue here in Australia, whereas we're also very, very strong, particularly in the telecommunications, rail and transport and defence industries. And I guess what do all these industries have in common? They have a need for reliable, basically bulletproof power often in remote locations and fairly extreme environments. So what are we offering here today? So effectively, where Powerbox comes into this is we've got Hank and his team have got a fantastic product in a sense. They've got an envelope for the security market to mount whatever you like as far as cameras on the top of a mast, transport this in a rugged deployable solution. Felix has presented, I would say, best-in-class technology when it comes to reliable, clean, green, off-grid power in a backup capability. But somebody has to make sure that this can be all bolted together and comply with some of the unique safety standards and requirements that the Australian market needs. So what we're doing is we're providing a simple and reliable power platform that will be included in a telescopic mast. We're simplifying the process for a security integrator. So you guys don't have to worry about the power. All you need to focus on is what you're good at, which is choosing what cameras you want to run, what devices, and basically wiring to a single set of terminals. We'll take care of the rest, and everything will be built and manufactured in-house here. So, like we say, it's going to be reliable, robust, and plug-and-play solar hybrid solution. And designed and built to Australian standards. So some of these are AS 3000 wiring rules and 5139 and 4509, which are the applicable standards, particularly for standalone power systems. The other thing that we'll provide is very simple to follow troubleshooting guides for the field. So if one of these go out and your customer does experience an issue on site, there'll be very simple on-site troubleshooting guide, and alternatively, we offer dedicated aftermarket technical support. So when we consider designing a power system for a mobile and off-grid CCTV infrastructure, we thought about some design principles, and we've focused on the following. Everything has to be simple, right? We need to build a product that if something is to go wrong in the field, it needs to be very, very simple for a end user. If this is in the middle of the Pilbara, to be able to trace a cable back, replace a component, do whatever needs to be done without having to factor in crazy logistics of sending towers back in across the country, whether it's back down to Perth or back to Sydney or wherever it has to go. The power system needs to be flexible in a sense. It needs to cater for a number of different power outputs. It also needs to factor in for a number of scenarios. So today we'll be really focusing around a solar hybrid scenario, but we might also have a solar only mast solution, and we might have a solar mains solution available as well. Everything has to be safe. So the notion of why we're sitting here today is to de-risk everything. So Henk and his team have got an envelope designed to be steady, rugged, meet all the European compliances. Now we're taking the same approach to the inside. So, you know, wiring, everything has to be safe and done in accordance with standards. Things need to be taken care of, points of isolation, no the inability to touch anything that might be live. So this will be all done with the power systems that we've put forward. They need to be reliable above all else. You know, there's no point putting a system in the field and, you know, you're constantly needing to service it. So we've got a very reliable and proven platform that we're working with that has got precedence in the market for many years. And finally, talking about mobile CCTV, these systems need to be as autonomous as possible. So the only time you really want to be going to site is if you either have to move the trailer or you need to replace methanol on site after several months of deployment. So what are the basic systems going to be designed for? The solar battery component will be designed for 2 to 3 days autonomy in its own right. So what this is designed to do is just, if you've got a tower and you've got good solar availability and the tower is sitting in the middle of an open space and you have a weather event, the onboard battery should be able to ride out that usual weather event. Now, in the event that the weather event does come in, or you might be deploying the CCTV tower in a built-up environment, so you might have shading from trees, you might have shading from buildings. That's when the fuel cell will kick in, and that will give you much longer autonomy in the system. So what this does is it gives a lot of flexibility as to where you can deploy the mast or the trailer system. You don't have to be defined by where the best availability of sun is. Back to a safety thing, all systems that we're putting in are low voltage and DC coupled, and they'll be housed within a protected electronics enclosure. All systems designed for a security tech to work on. We won't have hazardous voltages here that require any electricians to maintain in the field. Back to my point about CCTV towers can be easily deployed and work reliably in built-up environments. All systems need to be remotely monitored. So working with the EFOI cloud, we can see key fuel cell data as well as available battery data and solar irradiation data with a smart new device. Above all, the systems that we're putting forward are clean and green. They're not 100% emissions free, but as Felix has determined, it's equivalent of an adult being on site, breathing in oxygen and exhaling carbon dioxide. So, you know, when compared to a diesel generator, the emissions are next to nothing. So I think the green credentials, you've got governments, you've got building companies that are looking for greener alternatives and running generators 24/7. This allows you to play into these customers' requirements. Okay, so I'll just do a quick little rundown about the standard solutions. So we'll have 2 standard solutions at this stage. The final system designs are to be completed by early next month. The power rating we've chosen is 80 watts and 120 watts. This will generally give enough power for a combination of cameras, lights, and PA systems, as well as recording devices, etc., in the cabinet. The battery autonomy that the systems are designed for are 2 to 3 days, depending on load, and the nominal system voltage here is 24 volts DC. We've chosen 24 volts DC because the EFOY Pro 2800 can either give 12 or 24. However, we're trying to reduce, I guess, currents in the system, so 24 is the best way to do that. If you need 12 volts or 48 volts, this will be supplied through DC-DC converters. So our mast will have up to 2 solar panels deployable. These can be up to 800 watts using approximately 2 400 watt peak panels. There's an option for a main supply. Why this is important is if you're a hire company or something and you have towers in your warehouse, you'll want to be able to plug in a battery charger, small battery charger to a wall socket just to keep your house batteries topped up. You wouldn't really want to be using your fuel cell to do that. You'd be wanting to save methanol and fuel cell running hours for when it is chargeable in a customer's facility. All our solutions are designed around a fuel cell backup. So we're using the EFOY Pro 2800 plus a Fuel Manager 2. That gives us up to 2 methanol cartridges on site. The good thing about having 2 methanol cartridges as opposed to 1 is, one, you get extra autonomy. So that could be, in an extreme case, up to 120 litres of methanol using 2 60-litre cartridges. But it also gives you redundancy. So say you were to have an issue with one of the methanol cartridges, it will automatically cut over to the second one, meaning the site doesn't go down. All our systems will include overvoltage, overcurrent protection, and isolation of all electrical components. One of the big things about designing systems, particularly with fuel cells, is they're a living and breathing organism. So just shutting them in an electronic enclosure can come with some risks. So we'll take care of all the ventilation that enables the fuel cell to breathe properly, and also to ensure that the fuel cell battery and methanol does not exceed a certain temperature, which could have some negative impact on the running of the fuel cell. Finally, all systems will be plug-and-play connections. So we intend to work with customers to work out what their end connection might be. We might need to put a power over Ethernet device in there and run some Cat6 cables up a pole. We're flexible to how that will work. There's also some options that we're discussing. The ability to have a priority and non-priority load LVD in the system. So what that could mean is we can have some system logic that whilst solar and battery are available, you can run XYZ loads. They are everything. In the event that you get to a deep discharge or you're on fuels, running on fuel cell, you may choose to drop a non-essential load. So if you've got, for example, 2 lights on a tower, you might cut that back to a single light just to give you more autonomy. Then in the event that the sun comes out over the next couple of days, your batteries are recharged through solar, all that system will come on back as normal without any user intervention. We can also do some N+1 redundancy on the PV arrangements. Rather than having 1 string of panels, we can make that 2. So in the event that you had a panel failure or an MPPT failure, you wouldn't lose the site. There's also options for lithium-ion battery upgrades. To keep things simple, we've used lead acid for now. DC-DC chargers for vehicle connections. So say you're going to and from site, you've got the ability to keep your house battery topped up off your vehicle alternator. Like I said, there's also going to be a solar-only version, and we can work with customers specifically for custom design. So An example of that would be if you've got a particular mining company like a Rio Tinto or a BHP that have a unique set of electrical parameters that we're quite experienced with working with, we could come up with a solution that meets their wiring requirements. So I just wanted to go into some of our Australian EFOY Pro reference customers. So we've got, like I said, we've got a couple of hundred now installed across Australia and New Zealand through a number of industries, including CCTV, government, telecommunications, environmental monitoring, and the wind industry. All these customers face the same challenges as the CCTV market need. Their applications are typically deployable, or they're located in areas where solar alone can't be relied upon to guarantee the 100% uptime of their load. Finally, we're just going to go through some of the methanol supply in Australia. So methanol suitable for use with the EFOY and EFOY Pro fuel cells is stocked in Australia by Powerbox. We stock 10 litre, 28 litre and 60 litre variants of the cartridges. Whilst it's imported directly from SFC due to very high purity requirements, over the last couple of years, the supply chain has broadened. We can now pull in shipments from both Germany and Malaysia. And this is, I guess, reducing risk from single source supply and also the transport time from Germany. I will say, however, the MT60 cartridges at this stage is not available from the Malaysian source. At this point in time too, I might also just talk about why methanol purity is so important. Without going too in depth how a fuel cell works, in a methanol fuel cell, there's effectively two types. There is a direct methanol fuel cell, which the EFOY product is, and there is what we call a reformer type fuel cell. Now, the EFOY is a direct methanol fuel cell, which means it takes methanol directly from its liquid form and it takes it into the fuel cell stack. That means it's very efficient in creating its electricity, and that's why we get extremely long run times out of very, very small amounts of fuel. However, it also means that if there's any impurities in the fuel, that goes directly into the stack and it can cause reliability issues. So that's why we're very strict on the methanol supply, and it has to be authorized EFOY. The reformer type fuel cell will burn methanol and at extremely high temperatures. That will create hydrogen gas, and then the fuel cell will use hydrogen. So just want to point out that, but that's not relevant for where we are today. Like I mentioned, well, like Felix mentioned, all SFC methanol cartridges carry UN ratings for dangerous goods transportation. In Australia, we've had M28s and M10s regularly transported by helicopter to remote sites. So all the paperwork is in line for wherever you need to transport these things across Australia and New Zealand. We have localized material safety data sheets available for transportation and safe storage of dangerous goods. Generally speaking, methanol dispatches from Powerbox Sydney within 48 hours of receiving orders. So we've got, we generally carry thousands of litres of this at a time. So it's very fast turnaround on getting these on a truck out to site. Now, finally, I'll just mention that Powerbox will be exhibiting at the Security Exhibition and Conference in Sydney next month. We'll be co-exhibiting with Felix and the team from SFC Energy, and also joined by Henk and I believe Douglas and possibly another team member from the TelescopicMast team. So we'll be on stand Q42, where you'll be able to see the fully integrated telescopic mast and all the EFOY Pro solutions in the flesh. Thank you. I might, I'll pass over now to Henk and Felix, and we'll run a Q&A session.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, James. Very, very well presented. And equally so, Felix. So I think, you know, altogether, yeah, obviously we had a quick overview of the market, the potential. Felix more in depth about what EFOY can do. And I think James very well to make it more, how do you call it, applied right into the type of solution. So thank you.